upset. Would you really call it an upset of them beating the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoff game last
No,
year? But either way,
absolutely not.
they beat Pittsburgh for the first time forever at home in a playoff game, and people have high hopes for the Cleveland Browns. I'm talking like Super Bowl and AFC Championship game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Mr. Brandon BT Combs at @manhour_Combs, the old Twitter machine. What game you got circled for the Browns?
Week 1, baby, against your Kansas City Chiefs. I think that this
Yeah.
vaults them. Look, crazy things happen in week 1. Nobody expects the Kansas City Chiefs to lose in week 1. Nobody expects the Kansas City Chiefs to start out the season 0-2 when they play, Cleveland and Baltimore. However, I've got Cleveland winning this game. I've got Cleveland starting the season 5-0.
Wow.
I've got Cleveland winning this division at 12-5. I think the Cleveland Browns are for real. I think the Cleveland Browns are that good. I'm a believer in Baker Mayfield. He showed me last year, finally, he stepped over the hump. And after having a good game, he was able to follow it up and have another good game. And those are the things that you'd been looking from Baker Mayfield.
Right.
I think that this team is very, very good. If they can get Odell Beckham back on track, then this team is even more dangerous than they were last year. I've got them at 12-5. I've got them winning this division, and I've got them in a stunner in week 1, upsetting Kansas City in Kansas City, and then just going on a run for the first 5 weeks. I do have them stumbling a little bit in week 6 against Arizona. And they'll lose a couple more games that they probably could win. I think they're all going to be close games. But so I count it. I have them 12-5.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and hedge that I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And so when I say this, don't be shocked by it, but I think it is better for the Kansas City Chiefs to start the season 0-2 than 2-0. So, but we will talk about the Kansas City Chiefs moving forward.
Your boy Patty Mahomes says the only record he's interested in is 17-0.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But the games that I have circled for the Cleveland Browns is when they play the Baltimore Ravens. So I have both of those games circled just because the Ravens have kind of quote ran that division since Lamar Jackson has been in the league. But I think this year we kind of maybe see a patching of the torch. So I had that the week 12 and the week 14 game circled, a big circle, because the Ravens and Browns basically play a back-to-back game. So the Browns have a week 13 bye, but then week 12 they travel to Baltimore, and week 14 they're at home taking on Baltimore. And I think the Ravens beat the Browns a week 12, but I think that week 14 game the Browns flex on the Ravens, and that starts their roll, into the postseason. I actually had them going 10-7, stumbling against the Packers week 16, but I had them winning the last 4 of their last 5 games of the regular season, catapulting them into a possible AFC Championship game.
So what do you have them in as a record?
10-7. Losses to the Chiefs, Chargers, and then the Bengals, Patriots, Lions, Ravens, and Packers.
Wow. Okay. I think right now, look, New England's a wild card for me. New England's going to be interesting. We'll talk about them when we talk about the East. That one's going to be interesting for me. I do have Cleveland winning that game. Man, that's a tough one. Look, I've got them beating Kansas City. Here's the games I have them losing. I have them losing to the Cardinals in week 6. I have them dropping the ball once to Cincinnati and Cincinnati. I have them 3-3 in the division. So I have them splitting their division games, all their divisional games. So I have them losing to Baltimore. I have them losing the game to Pittsburgh. But I have them losing to Green Bay as well. So outside of the division, those are the 2 games I have them losing, is the Arizona and Green Bay. Everything else is in.
Yeah, good.
I look, outside of the division, they play Houston. They're way better than Houston. I have them playing Chicago week 3. I still believe Andy Dalton's going to be the quarterback for the Bears week 3. So I take Cleveland 100 times out of 100 in that game. I've got, they're better than Minnesota. Chargers is a game that they could possibly drop. I just I I think that they're better right now than the Chargers are. Um, and then I have them beating Denver. They're better than Denver. I have them beating Pittsburgh, splitting with Pittsburgh. I have them beating New England. I think they're better than New England right now. I have them beating the Lions, Vegas. So I mean, their out of division schedule just to me is where it's at for them, and that's why I got them at 12-5 and winning this division.
Yeah. So, and the other game that I kind of have circled is that Week 7 game when the Denver Broncos do come to town, because I think the Denver Broncos are going to kind of be that wild card team, much like you think the Patriots are. Because how good are they going to be with Teddy Bridgewater? Because many people think that the Denver Broncos they built this team to basically plug and play the quarterback type of system since Peyton has been there, and they think Teddy Bridgewater is the guy moving forward. So I would be curious of how good or how bad the Denver Broncos look in that Week 7 game versus the Browns. So, Combs, give me a player that's going to have a breakout season for the Cleveland Browns.
God, it's hard for me to just take one player for this team because I think that this team is just. I think it's one of those that is just a complete team. It's going to be a complete team effort. But if you're gonna give me one, I mean, look, Nick Chubb is going to have a huge year. I think having him and Kareem Hunt, I think both of those guys are going to have big years. Donovan People-Jones is a very nice wide receiver. He had a pretty good season last year. You could look for him to have a really good season this year. So those would be the guys that I would look out for.
Yeah, sorry, I had myself on mute. I was sneezing up a storm all over here. I do like your Nick Chubb. I like your Peoples Jones as well. But I'm gonna go with a backup running back, my man Kareem Hunt from the Kansas City Chiefs, because him and Nick Chubb really developed that 1-2 punch last year, and I think Kareem Hunt is going to carry it over this year and kind of become the man in Cleveland. Like, I think he is going to be a fantasy must-have. Tori always talks about handcuffs, but I think Kareem Hunt is a guy that might be my first running back that I draft past the 5th round, because I think he is going to have a great season. And on top of that,
I think I've got him in 8 out of my 11 leagues right
yeah,
now.
I mean, because he is kind of that scoring back, right? I mean, they'll give him 10 yards in and just kind of go.
Yeah.
But the one red flag that concerns me is we've seen Baker have great games. I believe it was that Monday night game versus the Steelers last year when we sat here on the Man Hour. I believe it was just you and me, and we said we saw Baker grow in front of our eyes. And if Baker is that quarterback still from that Monday night game, he will have an MVP caliber season. But I think he is going to digress a little bit, and they're going to really rely on the running game, and that's where Kareem Hunt will come into play.